The UMWA has sent a letter to Warrior Met Coal in Brookwood, Alabama, offering an unconditional return to work without a contract, a month shy of the 2-year mark.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Last Week in Southern Labor is a segment that we do every week, mostly, where we tell you what happened in the labor movement in the South. We pull the information from Jonah Furman's newsletter, Who Gets the Bird, which compiles all this information for the entire United States. So if you want to see what's going on outside of the South, then subscribe to that newsletter at whogetsthebird.substack.com. And with that, let's jump into new organizing for the 3 weeks of January 29th to February 19th, with the note that because this is a larger edition that includes 3 weeks, they're going to be leaving out some of the smaller filings. Starting off strong, 196 school bus drivers for First Student operating as Apple Bus in Huntsville, Alabama are unionizing with Teamsters Local 402.
I gotta say, I love that. As someone who represented Huntsville City School employees, as someone who frequently had to battle privatization and outsourcing, Huntsville City Schools has long outsourced their school bus drivers. They do not employ them directly. Apple Bus is just the latest of a series of contractors to come through town. And man, I gotta say, Teamsters Local 402.
Yep, really excited about that.
I got nothing but love for y'all for doing this.
I spoke to the business agent last week, and he's going to be seeing if we can, he can get us in touch with the organizers and some of the drivers. So
yes, I personally would love to have some chats with them, and I'm wishing them much success. And I always told Huntsville City Schools, like, be careful what you wish for, because private sector employees can have a real union. Not a professional organization. So buckle up.
50 beer distribution drivers for premium distributors in Richmond, Virginia are organizing with the Teamsters Local 322. 128 more baristas are joining Starbucks Workers United, including at another store in Knoxville, Tennessee. 60 workers at Dulles Drywall in Chantilly, Virginia are joining the Carpenters Local 197. 42 clericals at Penske in El Paso, Texas are joining UAW Local 286. 31 workers for Madison, Florida's Tri-County Electric Cooperative are organizing with the IBEW. 22 clericals at a Hormel meatpacking plant in Tucker, Georgia are joining UFCW Local 1996. 15 workers at Atlanta Gas and Light are joining IBEW Local 1997. And Teamsters Local 322 and SEIU Local 512 have reached a turf agreement for city workers in Richmond, Virginia, newly eligible to unionize, with blue-collar workers filing to join the Teamsters and admin and clerical workers filing with SEIU. In wins and losses, Teamsters 577 won yet another school bus union vote, with 58 drivers at First Student in Plainview, Texas, voting 36-4 to join. 33 teachers of unaccompanied minor immigrants for Southwest Key in El Paso, Texas, voted 15-9 to join the operating engineers, Local 351. 15 warehouse workers at Fort Bliss, Texas, voted 14-0 to join operating engineers, Local 351. And RWDSU lost a landslide vote among 56 lumber workers for Patrick Industries right here in Decatur, Alabama, 5-48. Hate to see that. 12 facility workers at a Fort Bliss, Texas contractor voted 2-10 against joining operating engineers, Local 351. And while Northern Virginia transit workers with ATU and the Teamsters are on strike, 149 First Transit workers who run Arlington, Virginia Rapid Transit voted 41-76 to decertify AFSCME Local 3001. All 17 maintenance workers at another Fort Bliss, Texas contractor voted to decertify operating engineers, Local 351, and 15 staffers at the Innocence Project in Atlanta have voted to join Teamsters Local 728 after a card check vote. In strike and bargaining updates, the UMWA has sent a letter to Warrior Met Coal in Brookwood, Alabama, offering an unconditional return to work without a contract, a month shy of the 2-year mark of what started as an 1,100 100-member strike, a strike in which pickets were outlawed by activist judges, in which hundreds of workers scammed, in which miners headed to Manhattan and D.C. to target the shareholders and politicians behind Warrior Met, and in which, as UMWA President Cecil Robert put it in his letter to the company, nothing has materially changed. The ATU Local 689 strike against private operator Keolis, which runs Loudoun County, Virginia's public transit system, is now in its 8th week on strike, with the union pushing on the county's Board of Supervisors, headed by Phyllis Randall, a Democrat who has gotten around $100,000 in campaign contributions from labor, including ATU specifically, to intervene. Maybe ATU President John Costa could mention it at his next DNC function. In neighboring Prince William County, Virginia, 150 transit workers with Teamsters Local 639 have also walked out on strike against Keolis, shutting down the county's OmniRide system. Coffee workers kept the strike wave alive, with Starbucks Workers United shutting down an Atlanta store for an unfair labor practice morning strike. The rail worker paid sick leave fight is not over, and BMWE and BRC workers at CSX, and then expanded to IAM and NSFO workers as well, secured a deal for paid sick days, 4, not 7 or 15, as had been pushed by the unions. Jonas heard rumors of other sick day deals to be rolled out for them, but not sure. 90% of rail workers who aren't members of those 4 unions at CSX still do not have sick days. And so there's rumors about sick days being ruled out for them. Nothing official yet. In politics and legislation, Marty Walsh left the Department of Labor to head the National Hockey League Players Association, where he will double his salary and at least half the number of people getting mad at him. Loudoun County,
At least.
Loudoun County, Virginia is moving closer to local public sector collective bargaining as firefighters and teachers collect signatures to petition the local authorities to pass an ordinance under the 2021 state law that allows such things. The Federal Office of Personnel Management is telling agencies to take another look at who they have excluded from bargaining units and take a more expansive view of who gets to be a federal union member. In internal union politics, the union election at UAW is in its final days of mail-in voting and may actually already be concluded as of the reading of this letter, with ballots set to be counted in early March. Ian Colgren spoke to incumbent Ray Curry and gave an overview of the stakes, while challenger Sean Fain laid out his case in the Detroit Free Press. And on its heels may be a contested UFCW international leadership election, which would be the first of its kind since the union's founding in the 1970s. The UFCW reform effort, which Jonah wrote about some months ago for Labor Notes, is coalescing around the Meet the Moment candidates, though there remains an uphill battle to hold an actual vote, let alone for any challengers to win such a vote.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.